So, all right. I think, is this going? Yes. So this is the Puke commentary with Andrew Osborne, the writer-director who plays Boz.
Peter Nunes, or I think I was billed as Lucifer Love.
No.
No. Damian Strange.
No.
I don't know what name I even used. Well,
Faith.
Ian Faith. Wow. Yeah. I think Ian Faith was an actual British pop star in the 1960s or early 70s. In actuality, so I wouldn't have been able to use that professional name.
Oh, I thought Ian Faith was like one of the characters in Spinal Tap all this time. Say, oh wait, here it's coming up.
Nobody referred to phones during this commentary. I'm not going to look it up.
Wait a minute. Well, it's going to come up starring. Okay, well, Ian Faith anyway.
Yeah, that would be me, Peter Nunes.
But why did you pick? Well, ask that. See, Scott Vodoviak. That's his actual name. And then who's that?
Freddie Manza.
Who played? You don't remember.
Peggy's
girlfriend.
Right.
Andrew Osborne, who played a thinly veiled version of himself.
Yes. So while the credits are going, does anyone remember why we did this? Like how it got started?
Well, it was certainly, it reflected life. There was a friend of ours who was known as Puke. And this tells a somewhat fictionalized, somewhat sensationalized version of the events that led up to...
well, just the tales. I think we all had different Puke stories,
right.
And so we strung them together. Nick Woodard, who helped edit this in one marathon crazy session, and I was amazed how good it came out. But anyway, I wasn't amazed because he was editing it. He's a good editor, but we were both amazed that it came out so well with no sleep. But this alley, I still go by in Harvard Square. It's blocked by a gate now. And whenever I look, I always go, that's the Puke Alley where Pete comes and pukes. But, and I think, I don't know who made the puke, but
that was Kelly.
Kelly said she made the puke.
Kelly Macros.
And there's your Death to the Pixies shirt.
Absolutely.
That I bought off someone's back.
A used shirt. Heidi, my co-star in the film, knew that I loved that shirt. I'd seen it at the very, very early Pixies gigs. I saw the Pixies before they put out... I won't go into it. I love the Pixies way back when. Loved the shirt. Heidi saw somebody with the shirt, had a hole in it. She bought it off their back. What a friend.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
And here's Scott, and I don't know what the hell shirt he's wearing, but Mizamar, and this is supposed to be a club in New York, but it's actually the Middle East, which since Mizamar knows every rock and roll person and every other person in Boston, she got us in there somehow. And here's Puke in the alley. But so I think just to say what the origin was, we had all these different stories, and I was going to do Apocalypse Bop, and I thought it would be good to. I guess I had in mind that someday I'd like to do an actual film shot on actual film. And so I decided, well, let's practice doing a whole feature-length thing just on video, which doesn't cost any money. And we spent one summer just every weekend we would have stuff scheduled, and it was all scheduled around Pete's haircuts. Now, nobody understands why he pours liquor in his eye in that scene.
This is confusing to many people. What's going on there is that I've got vomit caked on my face. The cream corn and ketchup that Kelly Macros helped us put together from the first scene where I'm laying there, it's encrusted into my eye, and one of my eyes might even be sealed shut with dried puke enmeshed in my eyelashes. So I'm trying to find some liquid to maybe... help it
to wash
unclump,
it.
to unclump, right, so I can see again. So I open it up, and it's like Bacardi 151 or something.
And your character doesn't think things through. Yes. That's an example.
Even though he does have an innate intelligence, he is often impaired.
And on stage with Scott is Chris Costello, who Heidi has a story about, but who I keep asking. Like,
who is it?
How did he, I can't remember how I know him or how he wound up in this, and everybody I ask, nobody can quite remember what he's doing there. But and so now this I forget what it's the Foul-Mouthed Trolls, right? Is the band
the Foul-Mouthed Trolls?
You're drumming, but you're in the shadows, so it's hard to see.
God,
I forgot that. But I think you're singing Fetus McNuggets at this point,
which was made up on the spot. These days, in front of us, we would have CGI'd in punk heads, like mohawks and things like that, bouncing up and down as we were rocking.
Oh no, I like it. I like it that there's just 4 people
Yeah,
there
it's
and they all
empty.
hate you, which I think is like
It
much
sounds
more.
hollow.
It's like open. I mean, because it's open
You
mic.
suck.
But now Scott is sort of starting now. So this is the flash forward. Now we're going to get into the origin story of Puke, which is going to take us back to the Middleborough High School Speech and Theater Workshop stage with an original song by Brenda Hartford, who you'll see playing the piano here, who, as far as I know, has never actually seen all of Puke. But, and I think I was starting to say earlier that the production schedule all had to do with Pete's hair. So we must have filmed these scenes
that's
early
it.
on when you had a full head of hair.
Right.
And then with each stage of hair, we would have to film around that
I don't
until
know.
you got down to the skinhead.
Well, I only
And
came
yeah, this
out
is
from
supposed to be like,
Arizona
I think the
for-
character is something like a sophomore in high school. Or something like that,
Yeah,
right? And I think I'm 20, about 23. I have no idea how old I am when we made
Well, it's like the Howard Stern movie where you see
Right,
him in
right.
high school even though he's like 48.
Right, but the rest of the kids are actual high school drama
Yes,
kids.
that's
so,
right.
So I stand out even like more of a sore throat. Rather than like 90210 where they're all 45, I'm the only 45-year-old.
And there's my mother, who is, ran the drama club at the time, which is why we got to film not only this scene, but many scenes in Middleborough High School, which would not be allowed
Right.
if we had gone through any channels. What with the story involving sex and drugs and rock and roll, and
Smoking in the teachers' lounge.
and this was filmed at your mother's
My
house or
father's
your
house.
father's house.
My father's house. I don't remember what was the name of that street, Heidi. The name of that street my father lived on. There, off of Route 18.
yeah,
Right off of Route
yeah.
18 toward between Lakeville and Bridgewater.
And I'm playing most of the parental figures because I'm holding the camera while gesturing, and the
Right.
Peanuts, and we rented a Peanuts tape so we could get
Right. I
official.
was going to say that was
Womp, womp, womp.
absolutely pirated from Peanuts.
Yes, exactly.
APPP.
Probably preventing the video from being shown in Germany
Indonesia
now too,
or something.
for copyright violations.
That looks like a Joy Division video. That I wish I had dipped up. That always reminds me of a Joy Division video with that like bleached out,
Yes.
extreme white there.
Well, it's just like a very consumer grade camera, but some of the shots and some of the close-ups came out very well, or better than others. It's very homemade. But Jed Weintraub actually lent me a nice microphone to use, so the sound is good even when the visuals aren't. And I won't say too much about Joanna because she disavowed this movie later on, even though she looks very beautiful in it, and she's very good.
She's not involved in any of the questionable, I don't get it. But
Well, I think she didn't
because
like
of the subject matter was close to home.
Yes, exactly.
I see.
And see,
Yeah, well, the first time Mike Chesk saw this.
oh yeah, he had.
you thought,
Oh, that's
oh
right.
my God! What?
That's right.
What?
Because we stole,
I wasn't
we
even
stole,
thinking.
yeah, we stole bits and pieces of lots of
Different
Middleborough
people.
High
We
School
won't say
stories.
what
There were
scene
composite
exactly that
composite
was.
characters and composite
But,
situations
yes.
and things like that.
But I think it gives like a pretty accurate view of growing up in Middleborough in the 90s
Right.
or the 80s. And in fact, I love that now it's a period piece. Like it would cost a lot of money to recreate
Yeah, to
like
get
the
that-
LP. And
No, but yeah, those sofas with all the intricate sort of paisley like vine work in them.
'Cause
That was a definite time in the 1990s when you had those things.
And then because this was, and you got a Cure shirt there, very very accurate to what the character would be wearing at this point during his preppy. And now tongue kissing. Oh my goodness! But
I wasn't straight was I straight when we filmed this?
you were no longer straight.
Okay, I didn't think so.
And you'll notice some of these are like Children of Men. Are these complicated one-take shots? Like I think this started I think outside the door and comes in the makeup. Up to the point now she's running out and she jumps out the door. I mean, it's pretty complicated.
I always thought this was this drama right here. I thought this worked with like the sliding of the door and the sling.
And then, oh yes, see. because this is
Is this the Teapot Dome scandal?
This
Consider
is
my
the
future.
yeah.
This was some good writing right here.
Yes.
Good conversational
Well,
writing
they
right here.
use that in Cash Cab too.
I
Wasn't
think
that
probably
your
there was
question?
later on when there was
I
a
heard that
paid
answer,
writing.
I said.
I hope I did a Teapot Dome.
Emmy-winning
It
right.
was,
and
no, I
Emmy-winning
heard the
writing has
answer
its-
and
has
said,
its
"Oh,
origins,
Andrew
right.
wrote that."
And I think there was also like one of the things I used all the time too was like one of the Chinese dynasties. Like it's in this and it's in, I don't know. I remembered. I only remember certain bits of information, but like John Waters films too, like which of course this was very much inspired by, just long pages and pages of dialogue that people had to just remember because there were no cutaways where you could like fake it. Everybody just and like she actually hated this take because like she just was so flustered because she was barely remembering it, but it looked wound up looking the most
She was
natural.
supposed to have been scared to death by just being chased out by the Nazi parents.
Yeah.
And this was fun because it was all shot on video. It was just very loose. Like there were no stakes,
Right,
so we
right.
could just film stuff, make stuff up on the spot. Like later on with Apocalypse Pop, everything was so expensive. Everything just had to be exactly planned out.
Yeah.
But we could
You
just
didn't
like
want to waste a foot of film.
no, but we could just freeball it.
Me getting
Oh,
Yeah,
look
so-
at! Do you still have that awesome Alice in Wonderland poster that's reflected in the mirror there?
No, I don't have that. I don't have that warehouse mirror either, which was great.
Yeah.
Weird fish-eyed.
I remember playing many a night of Joust in
Right,
that
in
room
the Atari,
back in the old days.
Atari 5200.
And there's one of your many
One of my many
topless
shirtless
scenes.
scenes from the movie. Right.
And
Little burgeoning pecs for the first time.
and I like it that for little new wave kids, here is there's like a little
Right, a
primer
how-to, right.
on how to dye your hair.
Right. Don't remember to use the gloves. You don't want to get it all under your fingernails because you'll have to use a nail brush for quite a while.
And then now, of all the hairstyles in the film, this one is the most short-lived.
Yeah, exactly.
This is for exactly
existed
like
for that scene.
20 seconds of screen time. And then, oh no, oh yes, parents just don't understand. And based on some parents who, I don't know what they would think if they saw this movie. They would probably feel some guilt about doing things like this. And
And
here's,
one of them is
Things
deceased.
have changed.
and here's
One of them is deceased.
Oh, really? Well,
Puke's actual mother is still alive.
and here is the homage, the show-offy Hitchcock homage with
the actual psycho music behind
and
it.
also a sound effect of tea boiling for the water going down the drain. And now, now, see, we're using this.
Was that the same as the chainsaw sound effect?
Yes,
Was-
probably. And I like it that the paper there says early '60s because there's a lot of anti-baby boomer vitriol throughout this story. You also talk about I think Badfinger there, which I made fun of, but I didn't realize at the time Badfinger has a lot of good songs. But, and then you get locked, even though there's clearly no lock on that door. There's a lot of willing suspension
but
of disbelief.
sometimes I took it as there was
Like it's
there,
rusted
I took
shut.
it as there was a built-in lock and they had locked it from the outside.
Oh, okay, right. And then this.
This bad drunk acting.
No, I think this is hilarious. I'm wondering if you singing "Hell Is for Children" also got picked up by the YouTube
algorithm, copyright algorithm.
Is that a Skinny Puppy sweatshirt
That is a
you're
Skinny
wearing?
Puppy
Yeah.
Too Dark Park sweatshirt from one of their amazingly theatrical tours.
Now I think that we did this for. It was all summer, I think, and I think we did it for. I don't know, 8 weekends. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, about right.
And I think it went on just long enough that we didn't get sick of doing it. Although there were probably some weekends where for God's sakes, we got to do this again. But there was no.
I came out from Arizona.
Oh, really? Just to do
That's
this?
why I got lost and shit.
Oh, yes. Well, while Pete sings this song, do you want to?
I remind myself,
I
my
lost.
body gyrations remind me of the cross between John Belushi as Joe Cocker and Fred Sanford when they're coming to get me, Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, no, I mean, again, the fact that it's shot on video, which ironically, nowadays, this is all.
This is a great shot. Here.
I know.
when the
when you fall
the
back,
huffing hit you,
and then you start to look like just an alien. You look like a Doctor Who alien. You just look so otherworldly from this angle. With your sort of crossed eyes, especially now. Now you look like the Sontaran ambassador.
If I trim my nostril hairs properly, I hope.
And you go from the POV to the extremely unconvincing chainsaw scene where, I'm seeing it through the eyes of love, but everyone else sees it through, the chainsaw isn't on, right? That's like,
but the sound is so exaggerated, that it makes it.
I do love that.
Yeah.
Was that Muff lying there throwing the clothes?
Yeah, but I just thought it just looked so ridiculous that it over the top. It was funny that the chainsaw wasn't going.
And then the all-important stealing the parents' hypocritical weed, where they are, and then the. And I love it that all sound drops out so that you can scream. Now, and then this, this is possibly my favorite part of the movie. I'm not sure. There are so many things here I love. Most of which...
Black Charlene, R.I.P., another deceased member of the cast.
Who is no longer with
Charlene
us.
Hervey? Charlene
But
Hervey?
she lived long enough to see it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And she was we had the most glamorous premiere for Puke at the Randolph Country Club. The entire cast was there, as well as some befuddled gay men who didn't understand why we were showing it.
Cross-dressing boyfriend.
Which I guess is some kind of straight club now. It's no longer a gay bar. Yes.
Oh, that upsets me. But I also like, there's a little show-offy Odessa Steps reference there with the baby carriage. I think it's very well edited, and a little kitten, and we have a kitten. We have Charlene. She's hilarious. We have and the sound before Splat, I think, is on the soundtrack.
Right.
A side project of the Psychoneurotic Squid
I think
Band.
we had told her that there wouldn't be any live sound, because there would be a song playing, but she screamed, "Oh, my baby, my baby!" every time, anyway.
And you saved it.
She is just about everyone's favorite character, whoever sees this. And that's my mom's car, and now here we are again at the high school.
Having a conversation about how the man's just getting us down, man.
And Scott, I like it that Scott has not disavowed his performance despite his haircut, even though now he is much more trim. And, like in Apocalypse Pop, he looks much more...
the only issue with his hair here is the bangs. For the fringe, you don't mind the long Flintstones.
But I think Scott would say that, he is very deeply in character.
I would say that myself. I mean, he looks like a Middleborough.
Now,
Middleborough metalhead.
I've always thought this scene, this shot goes on way too long. You're just looking at pavement for a long time. However, this scene looks like it's in like The Outsiders or something. Not here, but that one little clip, just the master shot.
Remember this? I remember this totally, because you're wearing that in the shit we already shot. You were wearing that creature shirt with Susie with the sunglasses.
I remember that.
So we have to have you taking off the skinny puppy shirt and wearing that one underneath.
See, there's a lot of thought goes into a cheap ass movie.
I have to dig out that Susie shirt now, because it would probably fit me again. That's a nice shirt.
That is a nice shirt. And this is a very
movie about shirts.
And this was my co-star Heidi provided this dirt weed. It was some homegrown.
Because you guys were like, well, we can't smoke it.
It didn't even work.
And over and over, and Andrew and his one more time.
Yeah. It's like, well, we don't want to smoke tobacco.
Nice, but one more time.
That would be like smoking unfiltered cigarettes. So we just got the weed that didn't really even get you buzzed.
Right.
And this is a very realistic southeastern Massachusetts location to go and do this activity.
Well, this was right around the corner from my mom's house, where she still lives.
Right.
And this road is used often now, so we wouldn't have been able to do this these days, because there are hunters, there are fishermen, there are all kinds of things going back in these woods now.
Now the Buggy Bass car
wash. Flawless.
This is the
flawless sequence. And what's this music called?
It's Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass. Tijuana Taxi. And at least one person has reenacted this scene by getting stoned and going through the car wash.
Well, because this was inspired by what me and my friend Roger would do.
Oh, really?
After high school. Yeah. That's because we had talked about that, and this is where this came from. I had talked to you about Roger, and we would light up a big fatty, and then we would drive right through the car wash with all the flashing lights and everything, and we would pretend that we were like right here. It's Dagobah. We're crashing R2.
Yeah, no,
So this was totally inspired by real life. And then this big thing. Oh, this giant robot leg is going to come through.
Yeah.
That was the early days of getting high, when you were seeing cartoons around you.
And then, and this is also like going back. I'm sitting like this because I just shot this. I look like Gilbert Gottfried in this scene,
right.
And it was because like I was all alone filming this, and so I couldn't look through the viewfinder,
right.
So I was scrunched down to make sure I wasn't getting my head up. But I think it kind of works. I look like a weird ventriloquist.
I just love the tonal shift. Where
Yeah,
it goes from just cinema verite, pretty much, to incredibly stylized.
to the David Lynch red curtain.
Right.
And then, I haven't actually seen these guys around in Harvard Square in quite some time. But I love that it's the anthropological like view of Harvard Square, like in the early 90s.
Are they playing Jethro Tull?
Yeah. That's later. And this guy, that guy, that guy's no longer with us. He was a fixture.
Yeah, he was part of Boston for a while. He was part of.
And this guy was an actual weirdo. We just walked over to him and asked if he'd be in it. And that guy, the beast there, Bigfoot. I haven't seen him around anymore. I don't know if he's still with us. But that just was random. We just caught some cops hassling the scary street guy scenes. There's like a phone booth. Like now we would have to like find a vintage phone box and have it placed there for that. Now this shot was shot by what?
The blind guy playing guitar.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah. There's
We ran into at a party.
And this is like a drug deal, or what?
No. This is just we're meeting because like you're meeting your college friend.
So can I crash on your sofa?
Yes. Which based on true events that really got me in trouble. And look at like I there was never a moment in my life when I said I am skinny and but I look back and I was skinny, and I don't know how that happened without me realizing it at the time or appreciating it. But anyway, so now
we're at your parents' house.
Yeah, so this is another real willing suspension of disbelief that my parents, middle class, small town house is
70s style.
Is I think the 70s style probably helps because I think that
it makes you look like a hipster.
Well, like when you see the exterior, which was at where I was living in Cambridge at the time, it's a house and people live in houses. And I think that the art direction went as far as you could to turn the house into looking like kind of a college divey apartment.
Yeah, I don't remember that sort of mannequin thing. I remember having that. It was all jointed and everything.
Yeah.
We have like with the teddy on it, but I have no recollection of where that
And I think
came
you did the extra touch of putting the hand in the panties. And we had the fireplace here, which was good because the scene was based on another scene that may or may not have involved the actual Puke. But I had a drunken Harvard roommate who he would just buy bottles of vodka every day and order a lot of pizza and have me eat pizza and drink vodka with him. And one time, and we had a fireplace in that apartment, and he just would throw the garbage in. And one time there was like an old aerosol can that just exploded and flaming garbage went everywhere. So this is like kind of a tribute to that, and it also kind of is just around the era of like going to the sort of tension between small town South Shore life and then Harvard life, and how the Harvard people were supposed to be much better, but they actually were much bigger druggies and much bigger alcoholics than South Shore kids could even dream of. And there's Rob McKim playing the classic
non-flused roommate,
playing the exact same part he played in. Oh, and that was actual broken glass because we didn't have any other way to do it. One of many scenes filmed at my parents' house that they were horrified to learn about later, but there's still a hole in the carpet where you burned we burned the floor for Videohead.
Light bulb.
And this is another one of these just endless scenes. Who were you here filming? Were you doing the camera work here?
Yes,
yeah.
I was.
The scenes, the endless scenes don't really bother me too much. Not bother, but they don't stick out to me too much. The ones that stick out to me are the ones where, okay, but now we have to say, we're going to go here. And then we'll stop at a phone booth and we'll say, yes, let us continue to go there.
The connecting scene.
Yeah.
Oh, no, well, I mean, I like long scenes, of dialogue. I remember this only got reviewed, I think, in Film Threat Video Guide.
Right.
And the guy said, oh, there are long scenes of dialogue. And I'm like, it's it's an independent film.
Right.
That's every independent film basically.
Yeah. Don't go look at any Cassavetes.
Yeah. You don't get a lot of car chases for $100 of And look at that beautiful fire. And I have to say, in Apocalypse Bob, I thought I was very the character I played, because I could not find somebody to play the character, was very nervous, and because I was nervous playing a part in a film I was directing. But here, because it was just on video, I didn't give a crap. We could shoot as many takes as we wanted. I felt I was much more relaxed.
This is my favorite line of yours in this whole thing is, "Oh, sure."
When clearly the opposite is true.
Perfect
we'll be
line
quiet.
Reading. Yeah, perfect line reading. That's one of Scott's best ones too.
I know. And
He's like a character from Dazed and Confused. Totally.
Exactly. And I like this. Is that my shirt? And I burned an old dorky shirt. But I had to think, what shirt would I like to destroy for art? Now here's Ding Dong Champs.
Ding Dong Champs is an established actor.
Yes.
Established working actor.
And I think that name is funny. I don't know where that name came from.
Ding.
Well, not Ding Dong, but Ed Laverne. That's I just think. But the thing is, like, this is very, very low budget. But this is one of those things. Like, I think throughout the movie, and I've heard people say that they're surprised that for a movie for no money just shot on a camcorder, they'll go, "Why are you in a police station?
Right.
Why are there fire trucks?
You're some kids with a camcorder."
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
But Ding actually worked at the fire department. I mean, at the police department, so he let us come in and shoot, which was nice. And he got other policemen to be in it.
Yeah, get involved. It was great.
And this is the Seltzer household, I believe.
Yeah.
We just went to a tribute to writer Johnny Seltzer, who is the father of Wilder Seltzer, who is the lead singer of Double Dong, who is just about to have a cameo here at the beginning of the LSD trip. There he is, and next to Tommy O'Neill.
Tommy's doing really well with the bizarre faces there.
That is a fabulous cameo. And then this is
hallucinating like a son of a bitch.
And this is downtown Middleborough on any given night where there is not shit all going. There is not. Okay,
I was skinny there, which is good, but no ass at all.
Here is another one of my favorite scenes, which we just came across these four girls hanging out and just completely improvised this scene.
Chewing gum and smoking cigarettes.
It is like, people who see this, that is one of their favorite scenes.
It is charming.
And it was just
it's like a scene out of like little like foxes or little darlings.
Yeah.
I could watch this scene over and over again, and oh my, the 80s crispy hair, or like the early 90s crispy hair.
Beautiful.
The accents. I mean, there are Hollywood movies that cannot fudge sale, for God's sakes. Candy crab bags. It's like they knew we were coming. But but those accents. I mean, you see endless Martin Scorsese movies where nobody, Hollywood, Oscar-winning actors cannot get the New England accent, but these girls can. And some of you told me they eventually just they came across this movie years later. At least one of them, right?
Yeah. She ended up hanging out at Kyle's with either like Laurie's son or daughter or something, and she was like, "Oh, that movie,
Hey, that's me. Why am I in this movie?" The classic boxed in and drawn out. And I love that girl who's laughing. Right. She reminds me of I mean, she herself is pretty and does not look like an alien, but just the way she laughs reminds me of Jabba's
Salacious crumb.
Salacious crumb. She's just like, yeah.
All right, now here we get the fireworks.
Yep, we just walked over to the fire department and said, "Hey, I mean,
could you pull those fire trucks out and just put on the light show for us here for a minute?" And then we got the main cable station, video filters and everything.
Oh yes, yeah. They didn't have anything better to do.
These kids these days, they just put a filter on their Instagrams or their Snapchats to do all this foolishness. But back then, we had to have a guy who knew what he was doing.
You had to go to a cable access station.
Right.
And Pete selected most of the music on the
soundtrack. Hot Doggy by Colorbox right here. Excellent.
It was not like directly, but like I had a bunch of mixed CDs that I had stolen from your collection. And this is a scene of your first LSD trip and running to the police station. Does that sound like a far-fetched thing to do? Well, it is based on a factual story, and this guy, he probably has no memory of being
naturalistic performance if ever there was one. Look at the lips on that fucker.
And now, there's Muff.
There she is.
And,
we saw her in a state not unlike this just somewhat recently. And David.
Oh yes, and Heidi. Look at that punk ass hair.
Yeah, you look like Daniel Ash from Bauhaus.
I know. That is some fantastic hair. And I love so this is just like the band practice room down in the bowels of Middleborough High School.
Doubling as the insane asylum.
But it looks like a 19th century.
Yeah. You would think that just the quintessential padded room would come into play here, but no, we're just in the fake.
Yeah, you wouldn't really put crazy people in a room with hard cement walls.
Right.
But
oh well, maybe.
And
the instant camaraderie of the mental cases.
But I don't know.
And here's the meet cute.
That's right. See, you've gone from the sweet high school girlfriend to the more experienced,
the one who's got to kick junk. I gotta kick junk.
The bad influence girlfriend, who, based on somebody who stayed at one of my college apartments, and who said she had died earlier in the day due to the junk.
Yeah. That was Athena, wasn't it?
Athena, I believe. And here's the big
Muff having a grand old time. And Muff was telling us just recently when we asked her about this experience that she just remembered she was supposed to be playing a crazy person, and that she did not have to act because she was delirious from being shut in this small space with her best friend David Goldman, the one who plays the effeminate fellow with the funny wig.
And I don't know where the wig came from or whose idea that was,
but it was a good one.
Great.
And I don't know who this hairy-armed gentleman is.
Mike Muir.
No. Mike's coming up later. This is like a guy named, I think his name is Hank Roche.
Yeah, Hank
and he was
Roach, and
high school
he
guy?
was married to Pratt Woodburn's sister Lee.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
had
he
no
was
idea.
friends with Mike Merritt. They worked at the Pilgrim Plantation.
Oh, so he came along with Mike.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that shot. That could be the poster right there. And I love the subtitles here. But here's the best shot in the entire thing coming up. I don't know how I got this because I didn't know how to do this kind of close up. The camera just did it for me. But but look at the clarity. Look at the clarity of that close. Because you don't understand what's going on unless you see the pill transfer. Oh. And there you go.
This is totally multiple maniacs Mondo Trasho territory.
Not the only scene where you were tongue kissing Muff on video.
Right.
Oh, and then some kissing. And now here's Mike Merritt, who is, I think he has acting credits. He was on America's Most Wanted once, which I thought was a bad gig because then people
call up and say the guy because he was working down in Williamsburg or something.
It's like, I saw that guy.
Yeah, they did.
I'm gonna shoot him and bring him to the police station.
I forget that the guard comes in and kisses David.
I know.
That's a great touch.
That's
a great touch.
And watch David
David
he flips his arm over his shoulder in a very coquettish manner. Yes.
Yeah, David.
Oh, and this I believe is the maybe
the teacher's lounge.
The teacher's lounge, or at least the teacher's cafeteria.
Lots of teachers would smoke.
Yes,
it was always full of thick, acrid smoke, and everything was sticky with nicotine.
And look at this completely non-gratuitous nudity here.
Well, it's not nudity at all.
Well, it's semi-clad
under pantry. Look at this. Look at those scrawny little arms. Look at them. Scrawny legs. Look at them. No.
Skinny legs.
Oh. One take couch
reverie.
love.
Reverie. Oh, and here, who was it? Muff, the girl who played Crazy Mary in the previous scene, did my body hair removal.
Yes,
since I am naturally a furry person with thick matted patches of hair on my back and every other area of my body.
And she brought you down to whorls.
Yeah, just little whorls. You had to be close up even to see them. Nice tan this summer too. Good Lord, I'm never tan.
Back to the So Mike was my across the street neighbor growing up, and he was a pilgrim, like my neighbors who also lived.
He worked at Plymouth Plantation.
That's right.
All right.
And next to me were the Goodritis, who were also. Josh Goodritis shows
that-
up later.
I thought that,
Also
like,
a pilgrim.
that scene reminds me of Breakfast Club.
Yes, exactly. And then see the
There's that fella
mask,
again,
the
yeah.
plastic mask.
He reminds me of.
But here he is,
He reminds
not
me
as
of
a guard.
Zardoz when he wears that mask.
or General Zod when he's not wearing it. Now Pete here, he's rubbing his eyes to keep himself from blowing another take by laughing at Muff,
It was so good.
Right.
who is so freaking hilarious. And I think. Oh no! This is her telling a story of the kinds of mean things I would do to my brother.
Right. I didn't do it. He did it, but she didn't believe me.
And I would stand behind my parents, like just grinning a
Right,
shit-eating
right.
grin at my brother.
Right. They
which
would believe me.
I know, which was not a nice thing to do. Now here, I think it starts to look like when you have this haircut. I think this looks like British television.
Yeah, that's true.
This looks like a Prisoner episode or something.
Porridge.
Yeah.
There was a sitcom called Porridge in the 70s that, this could probably be cut into. And I already have gray hair on the sides, don't I?
Oh, I don't know.
Do I? I can't tell. Maybe it's the weird angle that I'm looking at this
I know, I
LCD
can't
screen.
see.
Things look kind of funny.
Oh, sure. Thank you. And so this is another.
Making
This is the devil's bargain, right?
Making the deal.
Oh, he is not a very good guard at all. He's
Right.
giving heroin to the inmates.
He's allowing them to screw.
But I think, again, I think that if this had, there was all independent film was shot on film, right up till this moment. Like right after this was filmed, they did an independent film on film.
Ironically, Heidi's shooting up scene right here. She has stepped out of the room momentarily to feed her actual addiction to nicotine.
Yes.
As she goes out onto the porch. Could not get through an 80-minute...
So we won't be hearing Heidi's commentary, but she's not heavily featured in this scene.
But we have gone on to, like I said, the devil's bargain scene right here.
And but I do. There are some scenes that are written, some that are improvised. I think
Looking at my face at this scene makes me laugh because, now, these are the emotions that I'm going through right now. My eyes will go up now because I am exasperated. Then they will look down because I am depressed at the thought of it. But
And then
I can see the gears turning in my young actor mind.
But it's kind of like the 4 stages of grief, and then you finally come to acceptance.
Right. I just think it's funny that you can see them.
I'm gonna let this guy jack me off. All right. And I don't know if this is actually based on anything, but
Saturday, smoking indoors in a school.
Well, that's right. That's right. They probably don't. Oh my God, they don't let teachers smoke anymore.
Right. Of course.
Oh, but I don't even know why people do the job. Oh, yes. Here we go. Ugh, no. This is body language. That was the very last
Ding,
shot.
ding, ding, ding.
That was the very last shot
one we ran,
that. It was like a pickup while we were editing because I realized we didn't have the letter actually being sent to show that you had consented.
Exactly.
Yes.
But that was not one of those scenes I was talking about where it's called and say we're coming over here. That was a necessary. That advances the plot. Actually.
Now I think that this is the time she's talking about. I don't know if she's talking about
Disneyland. I think.
Oh, okay.
Disneyland and everybody. It was the big parade at Disneyland, and she fell over, and everyone saw
I don't
her
know if
coo.
that was based on a story or if we just thought it was funny to hear Muff say "coo." Oh, and now here's another action scene.
Right.
Oh. And then it goes from Middleborough High School to the science building at Harvard Square. The guard changes, and I like that the mask is just the
great.
man.
Yeah, it's great.
Symbolizing the man. And there's
both guards had ponytails.
That's right.
So that did strap together. Rob and the other fellow with the Zardoz.
And there's Rob McKim.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Playing in his second role.
With that
There's my truck, my Mazda B2000 truck
that you had for 40 years.
Forever. Finally sold that to a Mexican maintenance guy at the bathhouse I was running when I moved to Los Angeles. Gave it to him.
So now we're pulling up to the place that Scott and I we're from the POV of the place where Scott and I were living when we were
you weren't in that cool castle.
No. And
this is the outside of what we did the interiors of for your parents' house.
See, so it's a house. I mean, you can sort of believe that it's a house.
Right.
And then it's just except for there's later a scene that starts from outside the house and comes
goes
in,
in
and
and
you
right.
have to believe that through this door there's a breezeway.
Or there's a second entrance to the house.
That's right.
That's what I always
Yes.
figured.
But I think
Every
that,
houses have back doors and
that's
front
true.
doors.
I think that you get so caught up in the narrative that you let it all slide. And there are certainly big budget films. I won't start a Force Awakens arguments about, but there are certainly big budget films that have, let's say, slightly illogical,
or just any Mission Impossible or
Right.
anything by Michael Bay, for God's sake. It doesn't matter why things happen the way they happen.
Now, I have to say again, I'm saying it because, like, say, Vulture.com is not saying it, but there's a lot of the humor of awkwardness is a big thing now. This scene, it could not be more awkward.
Well, and Rob couldn't be more well suited for it,
Oh yes, just
quite a dry wit, that Rob McKim.
Rob playing every person I ever met at Harvard who wanted nothing to do with my friends, certainly, and barely could tolerate me. And just that passive aggressive, like, yeah,
Smarmy.
not like the thing of just get the fuck out of here, which you would,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not really gonna work.
Yeah.
I don't smoke.
Rob is very, very funny in this. But and since this is such a long scene, I'll just take this moment to try not to forget to say that this was on Puke. Probably has been seen by, I would say, hundreds of people, because it got like passed around, videotape noobs. But Scott Noviak, when he moved to Austin, put it on Austin cable access, and so for months it was playing like midnight shows on the weekends. So we have no idea. Now this is very illegal to do this. This looks very, very
that
70s.
lady pulled over and manhandled
the bus driver. But that doesn't that look like a 70s British, like a Doctor Who scene right there? And I don't know.
Like Blake 7.
Yeah, exactly. And this scene, we should definitely not have been here. This is some innard of the bus tunnel or something.
The transit system, absolutely.
I
wonder if I'm hoping
parking
that this
garage.
is somewhere.
What?
Are we just sitting on the metal cement abutment at a parking garage?
We're in a parking garage. I
Exactly.
believe, like that one right.
I don't know.
No. This is in the subway bus interchange. Oh, okay. Now this part, that was a little I forget what it's called, where you make the sound effect match the thing, because you didn't actually bang your head. But
He
this
did bang his head.
I know, but we added the sound to make it even bangier. I think this is where the bus driver probably yelled at you.
Yes.
Right.
But now I have
You're
to.
not supposed to be
The
walking
brake lights.
Right.
hey, get out of there. Yes, this was a lot of one-take shots where it was one take and then run. But this scene, I was told by an actual heroin junkie that they said, "You have captured the experience of being on junk very nicely." As you two were wandering around in the rain with the high contrast exposure, and it just happened to be raining, but damn.
The hypnotic this Mortal Coil song, certainly.
Yes.
And David Lynch would go on to use this for another bleached out scene in Lost Highway as well. A similar scene too of
And then I guess sometime there were these fire jugglers around the time we were filming, which I think was very nice. And then it brings us back to the scene. I would say it's kind of a love letter to Boston, and
one could say.
not quite a love letter to Middleborough, but sort of a slightly less of a love letter to Middleborough. But there's Wilder again in his second
Real
appearance.
panhandlers yelling.
Oh, really?
We had to pay them off from you're stealing money from us. And we're like, no, we gave these people the money to put in the cup. And we ended up...
you can have the money
we
that we're
had
putting in the
to
cups
give them
afterward.
the money so they'd shut the fuck up.
I don't remember that.
Oh, my God.
Oh yes. Puke would panhandle for money and then go buy drugs, just like the Republicans say they're going to. And I would say he made me a little bit less, politically correct when it came to panhandling.
I don't want to be un-PC, but I've known homeless people since Puke that actually I've had the experience.
That actually need the money.
No,
they don't.
They would never spend money on things like clothing or food or any necessities because they could get those from some kind of public agency or a church, but they would just use the money for liquor or for illicit drugs.
I will again compliment myself with the hilarious timing of the scene where you can see Heidi laughing, breaking. No, she breaks character there. The old head lore. Now that's. No.
Just wasting our days. There's a nymph song by the Nymphs, just wasting my days, about just laying around on junk, not doing anything.
And this part here, where it flips channels, that has bedeviled every copy of this video, because like most
it starts rolling.
Most copies of the video, you do not get that channel flip. Although it's a nice little background, or like a reminder of shows of the era. And I don't know what the sound on this is. It's like ooh-ta!
Yeah, it's some kind of creepy children's program.
I guess when we were editing, we were just tuning in whatever we can find. But see here, now the Rob's character, not as straight-laced. He's got a bit of a drink. He tries to act all high and mighty.
I just think that's a great device for the passage of time.
Yes. Yes, and I showed this to. Oh yes, let's see here, and there's Prince in the background. In the background, there's John Cleese doing a long monologue from Faulty Towers. He's shirtless again.
Because I had to change the shirt.
That's
this
right.
one smells.
And again, this scene I always think looks like British television. I think I don't know. There's something about just the lighting or something. I don't know what it is.
Often the shirt really does figure into the plot, because in this case, he's finding the shirt. He's looking for the new shirt because the other one smelled, because I visibly smelled my underarms and made a stinky face. but this advances the plot.
And
here,
this continuity, because you are wearing that shirt later when I say, "Is that my shirt?"
Right.
Oh, and that's my Marie Laveau shirt that is in tatters now. I finally had to replace on a recent trip to New Orleans.
Well, that's good. You were able to get another one.
Yes. And let's see.
Looking for liquor.
Oh, so we got all right, wait. I keep wanting to ask about the story. When there's like a lull, the story about when you almost got killed. However, I know something's coming up.
Killed?
Yeah. Well, you and Chris in your car accident. But I'll save that till Chris appears.
Yeah.
But because I know what's coming up is another favorite scene, which I believe Rob McKim. Am I correct that Rob McKim fashioned the urinary special effect?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rob was always our go-to cheap special effects guy.
And this was based on something that actually happened with Puke, wasn't it? I thought this was based on something that actually happened.
That might have happened in our apartment.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't as
dramatic.
big an arc. Yeah, not as dramatic a visible arc.
And I remember one of the we had a problem because it was like, how do we time this? And so, because Pete's asleep, and so Rob kicks a bottle, and the sound of the bottle was what triggered doing the beautiful arc of Pete. And Rob is just piss.
Just found a piss in our living room.
I noticed that I'm like the funniest person in this is apparently Rob, because every scene of his I'm just laughing at. And this is mirroring me just going sort of at the time vaguely aware that yes, I am condoning terrible behavior, and you are being normal by not wanting people to piss in our apartment, and yet I think you are a dick. That was my mindset at the time. Okay, so we got, oh my God, it's a who's who here.
There's a union here.
So I think we got Luke in the background. There's Muff out of the mental institution, now all dolled up. No, and the two girlfriends meet.
Are we supposed to think that is Mary from the insane asylum, or is that Muff? Could just Muff be playing another fabulous tiara'd woman?
Is
that Jim LaPierre?
Yeah, Jim.
Jim.
It's like the Star Wars universe. Oh, this guy. Oh, I think that was
the boyfriend of somebody, right? Joanna Show's
Joanna's boyfriend, I think. Yep.
Right.
I don't know who's standing in the foreground.
Patty Perry.
Everywhere. Piss.
He's got Luke.
I think
Playing a denizen
I
of
think
the-
there's a lot of prop marijuana here.
Yeah, prop.
So, and here's another long tracking shot. Carefully choreographed. Looking around.
This did happen. Puke's parents in real life did come around looking for their child.
Well, and I was also at the time the time frame that Puke was based on, hiding another fugitive from the man in my apartment who also showed up unexpectedly. And now back to this, but now all alone.
This is where I think the story with Mary and the doesn't Mary make a return appearance?
Yes.
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 This is where.
So I guess she probably wasn't at that party. That was
Right,
probably her sister. And this is the story about Star Wars, which is based on Pete ruining the Empire Strikes Back for me in junior high school.
Right, because The Empire Strikes Back was coming out, but Lucasfilm, in their infinite wisdom, put the novelization of the screenplay out before the movie, so you could read the big reveal that Luke was in fact Darth Vader's son, and taunted poor Andrew.
I came into 7th grade one day after you had the comics, and you were like, Darth is Luke's father, but I just refused to believe it. I was like, he's just lying to me. Clearly, that's not what's really happening. Now we are at Bridgewater State College,
in the student union lounge. Yep.
Another nice, I would say, Kubrickian.
Subbing for the day room.
That's right. I would say this is a Kubrickian
definitely
layout here.
Clockwork Orange inspired.
Oh yes. And here now is Josh Gudritis, the second pilgrim of the movie.
Another be-ponytailed guard.
Oh, and I believe, I'm not actually hearing it, I'm just remembering it from seeing it 700 times, but I believe the voice here is Nick Woodard, who was the editor. Because I think we had run out of actors. We were like, oh shit, we need another voice. Yes. And now begins, and now Brian Kennett, forever known to all my friends as Uncle Creepy.
Yeah.
The short little One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest segment of the program.
And Brian,
what a character.
Yeah, we who I knew from the Harvard Lampoon. He was. It
wasn't one of those smarmy dicks.
No. He was a weirdo like us, and fully got into this. And this is another one-shot thing that I think is just hilarious. We were sitting. So now we've moved production down to New York City in
Brian's apartment.
In Brian's apartment, but I'm sitting out on the fire escape for this long shot that is almost timed correctly. There's one little lag in it that I always notice, but otherwise I think the timing is perfect.
We get Brian's description of the properties of curds and whey, which is the thin watery part and which is the lumpy part.
Oh, and
this was a joke even then in New York City, for God's sake. But these days, curds and whey with quinoa and
artisanal curds.
Exactly.
But this was 91. I guess this is when New York was starting to get a little less scary.
Sometimes I sprinkle a bit of wheat germ on for flavor.
And you do actually a great
a horrified. I'm supposed to consume this.
You do a great take. I forget what it's called. A deadpan at the end of this. And then Brian's wife, his beautiful wife from Spain, shows up as a beautiful woman from Spain later in the show.
Yeah, and that was the whole Brian is a little freakish Yoda-like man, and no offense to Brian, of course, and a beautiful cosmopolitan wife from Spain.
Yeah. It's like Mastro, and I was going to say Marcello Mastro, but I can't pronounce his name, so I won't do the reference.
Right.
But so we drove down to do all of the scenes. Let's see. Well, in the story, they actually go to New York for a club gig. So there are some scenes that are actually shot in New York. That weekend, we went down, and you're filling there. This is where Brian was a little slow coming back, and so you were you had to fill a little because I don't know how many takes we had done.
Right. To try and make the curds and whey palatable.
No, but just to get this 5-minute scene, it's you don't want to do a lot of takes of this. What the hell is he talking about
he's talking about here.
I can't remember, but anyway, so Rob McKim drove us down, I believe, in a big old American car, and we got lost coming in. I don't know if you remember this. And it was like, it was like a fork in the road. It was like, do I go left or right? And it was like, right. No, wait, left. And then like he just went middle and went up like on an embankment and just, I think, totally fucked up his car.
The suspension of the car.
And,
right. I do remember that now.
I'm not proud of that. So I hope all the praise of Rob will make up.
We rode up onto the Meridian.
Yeah,
that's right.
I don't think I offered him a red cent for the repair of the car damage that I caused. There it is.
A total state of mortification.
And here is
more nipples.
So oh, and for fuck's sake, the script called for him to be mixing the drugs into your milk, and he actually had
I'll use my mortar and pestle.
I should fetch the mortar. Will this do? It's like, oh, yes, it will. You wonderful weirdo. Let's see. Oh yeah, so we did this, and like
it looks like he's giving me laudanum.
I know. He basically is. God knows what food he's serving you now.
That is bulgur that has been digested by a maggot.
And I think in his last scene he's not wearing pants. He's just he's oh look at over the shoulder. He's secretly let's see. Look at your drugged out state there. He's like a Charles Dickens character in this, for God's sake. And I don't there is the pantsless but I don't know if this is based on someone. I don't know if like Puke had to go live with an actual, real, terrible. Oh, and I remember he was worried about us killing his plants,
fern.
so he had to like pour it very carefully. That was a little special effect there. Now you're ready for
the beast
trouble.
Has awakened.
So we must have filmed this like right early on.
This was filmed around the Be Alive thing, right?
This must have been like I must have said, well, let's film this first because that's never going to happen. We're never going to get those shots in New York, so we don't have to waste our time filming all the other scenes. But then we got this, so I was like, and I think like this gold bird was his, and we used it for the scene, and then I had to borrow it because a later scene the bird was in it. We filmed it in Middleborough. Right. And I don't think he ever got his bird back. So just another very very irresponsible filmmaking thing.
Here's my lumberjack.
Here's your beefcake shot.
Sweet. I thought I had flab on my waist when we filmed this.
See? It's like that college speech, like supposedly Kurt Vonnegut said it, but it was this other woman. Right. And like the speech was,
this was the scene. This is in Middleborough in my dad's backyard where we had to transfer the little kiwi or whatever it was.
Oh, I know who Uncle Creepy is based on. He was a guy who, based on a guy who had a lot of young men staying with him in Middleborough.
Oh, right.
Who shall remain nameless.
My homeroom.
No. And here is a dirty sex scene I filmed in my parents' upstairs bedroom. Yeah. Look at that.
Bedroom, your parents.
No, I mean bathroom. No. They're upstairs bathroom. This is
some steamy.
Steamy.
I mean, these days it would be in an after-school special.
I know. But for zero budget up, and I think that's me, filling in as Uncle Creepy in my parents' basement. Oh, and here I am again. And this was my Harvard Lampoon tuxedo that I had to buy to get on the Lampoon
with the tartan cummerbund.
I like the gathering of characters now, all is forgiven in this scene. This is the the afterlife, I guess.
This is at this point, Puke is just sort of fondly viewed as an irascible scamp.
Everybody has realized. Don't let him into your house.
Not necessarily an active threat to your life if you handle him properly.
And there's the ART lobby, and so this was me and Pete spending a day in Harvard Square, just roaming around, being punk and talking with the various denizens. Like you go to the old Store 24, which no longer exists. I don't think there are any Store 24s anymore. But I remember again just walking into a place and saying, "Can we film here?" And the lady was like, "Yes, but don't show my face in case corporate ever sees this and fires me." So, an uncredited appearance by the nice lady who let us film there. And look at, it's always remarked upon, this skinny girl who comes out. Oh, and she with this beautiful woman who was playing at the time.
Jethro Tull.
Yeah. And we just linger on her because she's just gorgeous.
Yes.
And this is
this. I don't know if this was the dumpster or not, but I have that sticker on the back of my jacket that I've loved. I still have this jacket, this leather jacket.
It was
held together by the enormous safety
got me
pins.
some weird boots out of that dumpster that day, I thought.
Wait, was that?
There's the blind guy that we were at the party.
But yeah, the sticker, warning, do not play on or around.
That's right.
I went to a Susie and the Banshees concert once, and there was a girl with purple hair. Well, back then that was a shocking thing for a girl to have purple hair in public, but she had a warning, do not play on or around sticker. First dumpster we came upon, I think, had one of those stickers, and I could not believe my good fortune. It was a brand new dumpster. It was a brand new dumpster, and it peeled right off in one big piece with no flaking or anything, and slapped it right on there. It's still there to this day.
And in the scene, like just a couple prior, where you take the little tiny guitar from the guy,
right?
Like he didn't completely speak English. We asked, "Can we borrow your little tiny guitar?" And he was very nervous about letting us borrow the tiny guitar because that was his moneymaker. But he was kind enough to lend it to us.
Just Scott in his wardrobe,
Which again, we just people. This is another scene. People are like, "Wait, what the fuck? How are you filming at Au Bon Pain?" And we just walked in and said, "Can we film here?"
Well, no,
and
John Seven.
No,
was working here. Wasn't he? No. I thought he was.
We all just showed up and we just said, "Can we film here?"
Right.
And we didn't have a plan for if we couldn't film there, so they just let us film there.
Right.
The sound here is terrible because it's just so so echoey.
It is in a good bread.
But this is, I think Au Bon Pain may be gone now. I don't know. But anyway,
it always smelled like croissant in Au Bon Pain.
There's John. They let Scott and John just go back there and steal bread.
Right. Put their hands on the bread.
Interact with the employees, for God's sake. Maybe that's why it's closed.
This is one of my favorite lines. It's a hunk of bread. What do you want?
And the editor was going to edit together a bunch of a little blooper reel, and he was going to do it it's a hunka bread, but he didn't do that. So I have related it to you.
Right.
John Seven is hilarious in this as a mean, punk-hating guy.
And he does the Skipper to Gilligan head slap with the hat. Not only takes your hat, but smacks you on the head with it.
And I love the time you bite bread at him in a very French way. You a fucking jerk.
My good bread.
And there's Chris Costello, who is a lovely guy who nobody can quite remember who knew him. I feel like maybe he was part of the Squeeb Access.
That's behind Heidi. It's a Hanoi Rocks poster. Band that has not been on, I'm sure.
Now,
in a while.
Now that I'm thinking about it, now I'm not sure. Oh, I guess this is just some squat somewhere. I don't think we're supposed to know where this is.
But this is the inside of the house that served as the exterior.
This is where we were actually living.
House. Right.
Which we also had to dirty up because two ladies lived there. It would never look this. It looked much nicer usually. So.
If just the fashion and just the look of the thing didn't date it, all of the posters that we set dressed everything with would. All the Cure posters, Cult, Soundgarden.
And I think this is probably the sound guy at the Middle East who just happened to be there when we barged in.
Yep.
Oh, and
now we come full circle here, don't we?
That's right.
We're back to the fetus McNugget.
And there's Amy Jaglinski throwing bread. There's Alex Watts. There's Kelly Macros. There's Jody Jaglinski and Jeanette, who was my girlfriend at the time. So my future wife and my current girlfriend in one shot.
Wow.
Imagine that. Wow. And yes, Amy is very angry that she only has 2 seconds of screen time throwing a potato because this was a punk rock crowd that came with vegetables to throw.
But potatoes hold their shape.
My fight with Miss Amar.
Right. Which there were no good takes of because they laughed every time. And there's Heidi yelling, "You fucking cunt," at the top of her lungs in a residential neighborhood, which she would only do 3 times, I think, because she was very nervous.
All right, you guys, enough.
The windows at us. Good Lord.
And
another
here.
Mimed bodily function. Have the puke, have the piss, more piss.
I love that Chris doesn't really care. He's like, puke. He's not that interested. And now here, I think you're talking to an actual just resident in New York.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think he was
paid
asking
that
me for a
guy. I
cigarette.
always heard that was the guy that got paid to be in the movie.
Oh, really?
Out of everybody.
Oh no, I know one of the guys was one of the street performers in but God, look at that. That's a gorgeous fucking shot right there.
Beautiful scene.
And then it goes to
This is a part of this Times Square thing is in 1,000.
I know.
At least 1,000.
I actually later on when worked on online. This is in public access,
right.
So this scene is not illegal to use from King
right.
Kong, and I love it because it's New York and you're stoned and you're thinking of King Kong,
and just the super rudimentary video filters really enhance that scene.
I know, and it looks like you're just standing in traffic. I mean, there's like a little island in New York, but later on I did. Online with Jed Weintraub, and we were filming a scene in Times Square, and we ran into like 4 other production crews that night when we were filming our thing. Like you couldn't avoid other camera crews,
right?
So
that's what Times Square is used for now, rather than actual experiences.
There was like some Japanese reality TV show, and it's like, how do we gotta get the cameras out of the shots? So, oh yes. Oh, and here's a new blossoming romance.
Yeah, really.
I like it that they make Chris just sleep outside on the equipment. We were just wandering around New York here.
And all the cat's away.
Available lighting.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
No,
I remember some of that seedy stuff. We're just going around getting that color, getting all the color of New York.
The scary color of New York.
Here's Miriam, wife from Spain.
Yes.
Brian Kennett's wife.
Yes, and this is down on a nice, fortunately... This is definitely based on a true story.
Yeah.
This was one of those stories where even when I was like, much more, I don't know, I was never really punky. I was always like sort of new wave, but I was disreputable. And I remember Puke came in and told me this story about this fucking cunt. Yeah, who didn't want to give me a hug. And I was like, well, who? This woman I walked up to, she wouldn't hug me. And it's like, you accosted a woman on the street. I can't really be on your side in this story. I'm glad she maced you. That's the appropriate response.
Exactly.
But Marion, in fact, sprayed you with hairspray.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, an unlikable side of Puke. Oh, here we go.
Had to include the warts and all.
And here, you lost your leather jacket at some point.
Right. Well,
you're not carrying it here, but it shows up later, so that's a continuity problem.
Right.
And see, Mohawk and Empire State Building was the effect. I don't know if it really comes across, but that was the intention of that shot.
So the friends are going to give up now and just leave Puke, right?
Well, I have to go get
Puke where he is.
Yes. That's right.
Right. You have to go get your
right. There's a story reason.
Right.
What we call in screenwriting a ticking clock.
Right. Yeah, this is adorable. That's adorable.
Puke always drawn to candies and fudge. Now, I'm sure I've asked you this in real life, but did Puke ever see Puke?
No, not that I know of.
Do you think he would have liked it or been horrified?
Well, he had brain damage later in life
that's true.
After having a motorcycle accident, so I don't know if it would have... I think Tim showed him at least a trailer, and he seemed to acknowledge and smile and, but I don't know, if he thought he was just looking at something cool or if he even recognized. We would have to get Tim's take on it.
And that scene, the horrible-looking abortion clinic, that building is no longer gone, because for years, whenever I'd pass it, I'd go, oh, the abortion clinic. Now, this scene, Pete is now wearing a dental appliance made by one of Jed Weintraub's oral surgeon friends.
It took a million years to get on, and we gave up.
To document when the actual Puke did actually have his
jaw wired shut
from I believe being slugged by somebody, maybe, or getting some kind of...
Well, I think it's the story he tells here about just some Nazi skinheads.
Oh yeah, whack him with the board, right?
Because Puke made the distinction that he was not a skinhead; he is a punk rocker, and he says that line later. But this exact scene, is repeated in Apocalypse Bop, pretty much line for line, with Scott playing me and Jordan Mechau playing Puke.
Right.
But the whole story about how he got So it's it's in the Puke Apocalypse Pop, sort of
Pantheon,
DC Marvel universe.
I'm still the girlfriend.
And you're still the girlfriend with the heroin overdose.
Gil Bliss and Heidi Manzarak's perfectly natural in her role as. Oh, fuck you.
Wow, that's a compliment. So this is
stealing drugs, stealing whatever. Oh no, this isn't even stealing drugs. This is just trying to brush the teeth. Through
this is
the sight gag.
Yes.
Ooh, gross.
And I think that this scene kind of it's a sight gag and it's funny. But I think we also at this point we're oh, the story's almost over, and it is only we're at 60 minutes. This is not going to be a full feature, so we can let some scenes just go. But you had elastics in this thing.
Yeah.
It was
a
like,
mess.
did you bite into a wax thing to get it custom fitted?
Impressions were taken, and I had to bite into wax.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of the big. That would have been a big time expenditure if we'd actually had to pay for it. So that was a big deal. Some legitimacy.
Well, but again, and I see a lot of films nowadays mumblecore films,
right?
And it's just people walking and talking, and that's it. And it's shot on video, and the lighting isn't much better than this. They don't have fire trucks or dental appliances. Right. It's a film ahead of its time, but hopefully getting rediscovered by the 20 people who haven't seen it yet. On the internet. And going into a shower scene.
Is that your parents' house?
No, that's where I was living with Scott and Jeanette and Karen. Boy, you really take your shirt off a lot.
Yes, I take my shirt off a lot.
like every fifth scene.
Yeah.
Now, this scene looks a little bit off because we had to do this trick to get these lines here, and the video had to be reprocessed to do that. So nobody cares about that, but I'm just letting you know. Now, this is at an ART function because this summer I was working at the ART, and so we just came in here with a bunch of dandies. And there's Jennifer Hill Robineau in the background, and one of Jed's friends who was, and I think Jim.
Yeah, I think his name was Jim.
I think Jim McIntosh and his girlfriend at the time, who now may be his wife. I'm not sure. And there's Anya.
Anya, Jeanette's friend.
Yes.
Anya was great at doing the bullshit.
She improvised all of this.
Yeah. Perfect.
And I was just trying to keep up with her and looking like a dork as I would in real life.
Anya, I believe, was that girl, though. She was that girl.
Yes. And there's another friend in the background. Anyway, I'm just saying some of these, most of these extras were at the fabulous premiere at the Randolph
What
Country
year
Club.
was this?
Well, this was 91, I think.
I think it's 92
because we're still smoking indoors and everything. Everybody still smokes indoors at this point.
I got married in 91 to Doug and moved to Arizona, so I think it was 92 because I came back to do it.
No, because it wasn't a...
Here's the violence.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Graphic violence.
That, I think, again, that is a well-edited... You don't see any head trauma.
But you do feel the violence of the act.
And whenever I walk by that alley, I always think of Harvard students beaten to death. It was right next to the Lampoon, so that was an alley. I must praise myself because we're in the dead of night. How do you film a scene? By putting the two people in front of these
twin windows,
two sources of light for and so
beautifully framed.
Very, very upset about Puke committing crimes, and this he didn't actually murder anybody, but he did beat somebody and had to flee town, I believe, was the real story.
The guy didn't die?
No.
Oh.
No. Let be very clear that there was no actual murder in the story of Puke. And I know... And I guess because I knew that, maybe it explains why at the end everyone's so happy to see Puke, whereas if he had actually murdered somebody, as my mother pointed out, why is everyone so happy to see him? He beat a man to death. And I said, oh, well, it's punk rock.
People thought Manson was cool for a while.
That's right. Here's a little shot with flashlights and a blue gel. Yep. And here's my father in one of his many roles as an authority figure. Disapproving of my behavior, as was actually
is this just an office at the high school?
Yeah, this is at the high school again. Oh, my hair has never looked better on any day of my life than it did on this fortunate day. I am so happy. This one day of good hair in my life was captured on video. Oh my Lord. Never again. Never before and never again. Even when I turn my head to the side, the effect is ruined. But when I look straight on, it looks like a guy with good hair.
And was that an Apple II box or a Lisa?
I think so. Here we have some lens flare, all the cinematic tricks. Look, I'm smoking in front of my father, which
for art.
Just years before would have been. Oh, there he is.
Art.
Yeah.
That's all she's got. That's all we've got.
That's right. I love it. Like he's just gonna put that cassette tape away for later. Amy always points out that my father should also be on loan to Martin Scorsese for how a South Shore accent sounds.
Right. Just happened to be having a party.
Yeah, that's right. And then this scene was based on a farewell to somebody. We did some 70s party. I think when you and me and Scott were going to L.A., or just maybe me and Scott, we said goodbye to somebody with the Leon Redbone song that comes up later.
Right.
Muff and Booth.
And there's, yep. David Goldman. Oh, now it's time to celebrate the return of the guy who beat an innocent man to death for trying to protect a woman from being molested.
Right.
So, not a politically correct movie in this day and age. And this scene, as written, this is for the young filmmakers out there. Sometimes you write a scene, and when you actually act it out, it goes on for fucking ever. And so you cut the scene by like in 1/3 of the scene will get across just what you need to know, and that was the case there. I don't know why Joanna is wearing that ugly Hawaiian shirt. I guess because it's the 70s.
Right. More clothing changes here too. This is always putting on or taking off upper body wear.
And I think that's the army jacket that just hung in my father's closet that Terry Powers stole from my father and then wore, and I don't know.
And I've got a hoodie on because probably I don't have the right kind of
that is probably right? Correct. And I'm wearing like weird vinyl leather pants there, which is another one-time only kind of deal. But Amy, my who judges my fashion harshly, thinks I do not look bad in this shot, and she wishes I would dress like this.
Elvis Costello.
It's very, I'm very hipster, but I like this moment of surrealism. And look, Rob has finally been won over.
Right.
No longer the stuck-up Harvard student he used to be.
He has literally let his hair down.
He has literally let his hair down. Oh, and then we're on a ship, I guess, for some reason. Right. Just capturing the moment.
But I mean, the chandelier right in front makes it.
I know.
The motion wouldn't be the same without that chandelier shifting back and forth.
And I like it that the line was Puke's line was like, that was very touching, but like you delivered it like Puke would go, well, I guess that was touching, but very corny. I don't know what the fuck you were doing. Right. And now, well, I'll miss you most of all, Scarecrow.
We have to tie up all these loose ends here, right here.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well, like most biopics, there's a little dramatic license. And people frequently will say, like, if they watch it, they say, well, what did happen to Puke? And that's a tale for another time, because that was a pretty...
Yeah, good God.
Involved avocados.
Right.
Oh, here's one of the very sketchy places.
Yeah, right. Let's film this and get the hell out of this place.
Yeah. That was a New York location.
This type of thing is actually occurring feet from us right now.
Yeah. We have a video camera. Yeah. Somebody probably will want that. This place is gone now, too.
Yeah.
You are. This is a hilarious look for you. That must be a speech in theater, like
no, I
extra large.
I owned that. I bought that at the thrift store myself, and I owned that.
Why the big suit? It makes you look ginormous. Oh, and then there we go. The little a hope for what might happen to Puke.
Does Puke say anything here? Hey, boss, are you ready to rock or anything like that?
Then with like a generic guitar riff, like dropped in,
right.
Which I'm sure Google identified as well, and I somehow
Hooray!
I think I filmed this myself, so that's very naturalistic for somebody holding a camera. I
At a
think.
freakish angle.
And then here are the kids from the opening scene,
Right,
the
drama
Be Alive.
They love
sing
this.
along.
They
Oh
love
yes,
this.
oh yes.
Violence is power.
Did you make that poster?
Yes, I came up.
did.
I came up with the slogan too. What would the slogan be?
But probably the most likely outcome.
And what were you? Was your character president at that point, or
Yes,
something like
yes,
that?
yeah.
You would become
going on
president.
from Harvard to have a wonderful, All right, so
Really?
this now comes the many misspellings. There's he looks like Nixon there in that still. I love any movie that ends like this.
Right.
That shows you the characters with a little clip
and a little freeze frame.
A
At
little
the end,
freeze frame. So I love it.
perfect.
And Jim McIntosh, yes, as the angry boyfriend, and Marion, which I think is spelled correctly. Charlene, and we miss you, Charlene. And David goes, and look at what he's mouthing in his credit. I ain't no fag, which is the funny part about like his. Chris Costello, God bless you, reading gay comics there, and if you ever see this, please email me and remind me how he knew you. I think he was a squeeb friend. I'm gonna guess. Curtain call.
Is that how you spelled Mike's name?
I think Mike's name is spelled wrong. I'm pretty sure. You have a fake name, so
right.
And I believe that in Apocalypse Pop, you're Regina. So you're Athena and Regina.
Yeah.
And Scott is now Scott Von Doviak, beloved author.
Where did Doyle come from?
I think
Sounded like some
Shane Doyle.
punk kid.
Yeah, I bet it is. I bet it's from.
Because it was Doyle Manzer was one of the other characters.
Yep, I think that's it. Okay, so there's Jaglinski. That is not how you spell my wife's name. So that's wrong. Jody and well, maybe that was the only misspelling, but that's the one I hear about.
right.
You spelled my name wrong.
Doug wasn't too happy he didn't write Heidi Butler, by the way.
Well,
you know, I will always be Heidi.
You're Heidi. Yeah, that's your stage name, you know.
Yeah.
It's like when Cher gets married, she's still Cher.
Yeah, Tommy Lynch, that's Tommy O'Neill.
Oh. Was it?
Yeah, Tommy O'Neill.
Oh,
yes.
God.
Tommy
that was just a
Tommy
brain
was
fart.
completely misidentified.
That's right.
Right.
Oh, geez. Goodritis is spelled wrong. So many misspellings.
Hal 9000, Nick Woodward. Right. Ruffy Goldman, Muff, Patty Berry.
Jim LaPierre, is that spelled right? That
so.
appears to be
so.
spelled correctly. I think Anya is spelled, and Sonia Hendrickson. Oh, and some more gratuitous Pete nudity for everyone who wants a little more. Heidi, quick, tell your story about how you almost died.
Going home, getting a ride from this wonderful Chris Costello, and we're going down 93 fast when a car in front of us starts spinning and bouncing off the guardrails all around us. Stopped facing the right way. Chris and I both looked over and looked at the guy who was sitting there like, oh. And he hit the gas and Chris pulled over. It just was like, have a cigarette. See, he'd been telling us the whole time I would quit smoking and how proud he was of it the whole time.
But a near-death experience
Oh
is when you get to have a
gosh.
cigarette.
Holy
Hair removal
cow.
by Muff, the greatest credit ever. Also, there was another misspelling because the Disarray song that you sang, Rage Solid,
Was
Red
was
Flies.
Red Solid because I didn't.
No, it was Flies.
Oh, Flies. So
okay.
completely misidentified. Carl Anderson is a millionaire sound engineer now, and I think we borrowed his the microphone.
His microphone.
So
Okay.
I think that's it. We only Heidi Kron, who's been sitting here listening to us. Do you enjoy Puke?
Hi, I enjoyed Puke very much.
Oh, thank you. tell the young people. We must spread the word.
You have 4 seconds.
The
Oh,
millennials.
to
will love
Jeff and to Jeff. We miss you.
That's that.
Yeah.